Hey guys, how's it going? Anthony Muthurajah here, back with a new video lesson for you all. Before I get to the actual lesson, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit that notification bell. I think it's somewhere around there. Alright, moving on. This is a little chatty, this video, but it's something I really wanted to talk about based on my experiences so far, specifically my experience with the brand new heavies last year in October. So, what's up? Wait, let me bring her into the frame. What's up, jazz cats? Okay, moving on. So, if you ask any musician, what's the first thing they do when they're trying to build a repertoire, they're trying to learn songs for gigs? The first thing they say is their part. Naturally, if you're a bass player, you try to listen to the bass lines. If you're a drummer, you listen to the drummer. But I want to share with you 4 effective ways you can actually build your ability to learn songs, and also how much time it takes to learn songs. I know guys who would spend days learning 25 songs when you can do it in 3 to 4 hours, to be very honest with you. Okay? Time is of the essence all the time when it comes to learning repertoire and being prepared for a gig. And sometimes you don't even have that luxury, you just have to go straight into the gig. Okay, so first things first, what I like to focus on is the actual structure of the song. Okay? For example, if I take Never Too Much by Luther Vandross, the intro goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, right? Now that break happens after the chorus as well, but with a slight variation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So from instead of a 4/4, you have a 6/4. Now, you could obviously know that by just learning the bass line and learning the notes to play. But from a structure point of view, the way I remembered it is a small tweak to the intro. And it then goes back to the same hook. So on and so forth. Okay? So structure first, which includes the intros, verse, pre-chorus if there is one, the chorus. Maybe there's an interlude, instrumental break. Maybe an a cappella section, you know, if you're talking about a song like All Night Long. All Night Long is one of those songs that forever is confusing from a form standpoint, but we know the bass lines, we know the hooks or whatever, but structure, how do you actually start the song, how are you going to get through the song, and how are you going to finish it? That's my primary focus, because that's what's very crucial. Whatever happens in the middle, whether it's perfect or not, it's kind of excusable. But if you don't start and end right, that's where everything can crumble. And that just shatters the confidence of the band overall. So structure with the varying sections. The second thing I like to pay attention to is the actual harmony. Okay? Harmony and melody. Let me reiterate that. So from a very basic point of view, I like to map out the harmony using the 4 common tonalities. You have major, minor, diminished, and augmented. I don't, or at least in the early stages, I didn't spend time mapping it out with the full extent of voicings, because it's time consuming, especially if you hear something and your ears fatigue and you start to hear things that are actually not there. So very basic harmonic layout on top of the chart. Okay, so piece of paper, write down the structure, then write the chords on top. Just try it. Major, minor, diminished, augmented, if there are diminished and augmented chords in the first place. Okay, and then I pay attention to the melody, because a lot of times the melody is actually what has covered my ass on gigs. A lot of times, actually, probably 90% of the time, I'm able to recollect the harmony and the structure based on the melody, because the melody starts to remind me, hey, that's, oh, it's heading there, it's heading to the chorus or the pre-chorus or maybe the bridge now. So in many instances, when you don't focus on the melody, you're purely reliant on just the structure and just the harmony. It works. But sometimes, if you want to add your thing specifically, or you're trying to work out arrangements, it's very important to know the melody as much as you can, as well as you can. Okay? So harmony and melody, that's the second thing to focus on after the structure. The third thing, as a bass player, is actually to listen to the drums. Okay, now I know a bunch of you must be wondering, when are we going to actually get to learning the bass lines? Well, the truth is, as far as written bass lines goes, 60 to 70% of songs have written bass lines, sort of. But majority of the time, outside of that, it is just locking in with the drummer, the groove, bass drum, hi-hat, snare. It's that interplay that we play with. So I like to listen to the drums, not only because I'm a drummer, but because if I have my reference from the drummer point of view, I will know better what to do, as opposed to just listening to the bass, because that'll just make me play bass. But listening to the drummer would make me play with the drummer, which in turn makes me play with the band, the rest of the band. So if the drum groove is boop, pak, boop, boop, pak, but then the bass line could be or right? So I can interplay depending on the situation, depending on the song. Okay, there are even songs like what's bad news, I think. Kind of like a walking bass line, but the drums just go boop, pak, boop, pak, boop, pak. So over there, instead of going, there's an actual. So I can even change the notes, but that's the general idea. But I'm able to develop more ideas based on the drums as opposed to the bass. It's pretty much the opposite way of doing things. So structure, melody, harmony, drum groove. And then the fourth thing is your actual part, if there is elements that have to be played. If you're playing a song like, let's say 7 Days by Sting, you have to play it the way it is written. Now, I'm bobbing my head along because in my head I'm hearing Vinny's groove. 7 days is all she wants. So, melody referenced, kicked in, harmony obviously laid out. I don't think I've ever played the song live actually, now that I come to think of it. I've just listened to it so much. I kind of learned it by just listening to it so much. Okay, so fourth thing is actually getting to your part. Now, when you get to your part finally, everything will be more grounded. You'll be able to recollect better. You'll be able to remember better. And the best part is, if you learn any tune like this, you kind of learn it for life, because it's very hard to forget it when you map it out this way. Structure, harmony, melody, drum groove, and then the actual bass parts. Okay? Now I want to leave you with a small additional tip that has helped me a ton as well. And this is in particular situations with singers, vocal tunes. I like to write maybe the first line of the verse, first line of the pre-chorus, first line of the bridge or chorus, the lyrics. I develop a reference there. So if, let's say, I take a song like How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees. So I know your eyes, I write it down. There's no harm in doing these things, by the way, and there's no shame, because we have to do what we have to do to learn, be grounded, be solid, because we want to keep a gig, right? Or want to get hired for more gigs in the future. So, and then it goes, and you come to me. That's where a major change happens. So I write, come to me, A flat major, so on and so forth. This is like a 2-bar interlude into the actual chorus. I really need to learn. I put that there with the A flat major. Now, obviously, the lyrics indication only works if you have mapped it out like we've spoken about earlier. Structure, harmony, which in turn covers melody, drum groove, bass line, and then just lyric notes. Very simple but extremely effective way to enhance the way you learn songs and build your repertoire. I used to get called for gigs primarily because I'm a quick learner and I remember. Whatever I play once, I will remember for life because I always learned it this way because I don't know any other way to learn. And that is also the influence of me playing different instruments. But as much as possible, listen to everybody else in a recording on top of listening to the drummer before you even listen to yourself, because you will start to make sense of your actual job in that particular situation. All right, I hope you get something out of this. I apologize for it being extremely chatty. I'll see you guys in the shed until the next one. Peace.